In the third year of our long-distance relationship, I changed my photo to match my boyfriend's. He suddenly sent me a message, "Dress a little more sexy tonight." The next second, the message was withdrawn. Oh, my boyfriend might have a new girlfriend. 1. I took a screenshot before Joseki withdrew the message. My mind went blank when I saw his sudden message, and taking the screenshot was a completely subconscious action. If at first it could be seen as a dirty joke between a couple, Joseki's withdrawal confirmed that my long-distance boyfriend of 3 years may have a new girlfriend. It shows the other party is typing for a long time. "Sister, what are you doing?" In order not to alarm others, I waited 2 minutes before replying. "Write a paper. What did you withdraw?" He replied immediately, "It was just a typo, he." I can imagine how lucky he is at this moment. Joseki called me on the phone, her voice clear and cheerful. "Sister, why did you suddenly change your profile picture?" "I saw it online and thought it was a good match for you, so I changed it." Joseki paused for a few seconds and made up an excuse. "It's actually a couple's profile picture. I just picked it randomly. We are really destined to be together. We are indeed a perfect match." He made some witty remarks, but I couldn't laugh at all. He's treating me like a fool. 2. When Joseki first changed her profile picture, I didn't take it seriously. He is young, likes watching anime and playing games, and he changes his profile picture all the time. Until my roommate saw my WeChat and was surprised. "Hey, this couple profile picture is so cute. I want to exchange it with my partner. Is this a couple's profile picture?" My roommate said, "Yeah, I just saw a girl's head." She handed the phone to me, and on the interface was a girl's Zaya Hongshu account. The avatar is pink, the same color as Joseki's WeChat avatar. The difference is that his is a pig driving a car. The girl's is the little pig sitting in the back seat. My roommate asked curiously, "Whose pinned post is this?" "Boyfriend." She widened her eyes and said slowly, "Your boyfriend? Could it be that he has a girlfriend?" I immediately said, "No way. Joseki and I have known each other since childhood." He pursued me for a long time before I agreed. We are in a long-distance relationship, but this has not changed his clingy nature. How could someone who sends dozens of messages and makes several phone calls a day cheat? But after a while, with some inexplicable thoughts in my mind, I changed my profile picture to the same one as that girl. Then I received that text message from Joseki. This was definitely not sent to me. Half of China lies between us. Besides, Joseki would never say such things to me. 3. I asked my roommate for the girl's account number. She and Joseki have the same IP, and their homepage is all animation related. No wonder my roommate, who is a deep fan of the 2D world, came across her. 5 minutes ago, she posted a new message. When I saw the content, I laughed to myself. It turned out that Joseki had just finished talking to me, and after making sure that I had not seen the text message, she couldn't wait to send it to the right person. "Dress a little more sexy tonight." The girl took a screenshot and sent it out. The text was, "So annoying, I have a lecherous boyfriend." A lot of LSPs popped up in the comments section. There were also a few people who should know her in real life who asked, "Where are you going to have fun tonight?" The girl replied with the name of a bar. 4. I checked the nearest flights. Departed at 6 p.m. and arrived at the airport at 8:30 p.m. Arrive at the bar at 9. 5. The music in the bar was blasting. I looked around and saw the busiest corner at a glance. Before seeing this scene, perhaps I still felt a little relieved. But after I saw it with my own eyes, I just felt ironic. The boy who kept saying that he had liked me since the beginning of our love, and would never change even if he died, was kissing a hot girl passionately. How disgusting. I sent him a message. "What are you doing?" Joseki put her arm around the girl's waist and replied nonchalantly with one hand, "Study. My girlfriend is so good as her boyfriend, I must not fall behind." 6. The girl was dissatisfied with Joseki's indifference, so she went up and kissed him again. He didn't push her away but said unhappily, "Chun-hee, stop it, I'm sending a message." Chun-hee showed no intention of holding back, and his hands roamed his body more and more aggressively. Joseki took a deep breath and grabbed her hand. "That's enough." His face flushed visibly, and he then pulled Chun-hee up and said to the others, "Let's go to the toilet." They laughed knowingly. "Take care of yourself." They walked inside. I followed him under the cover of the crowd. In the dim corridor, Zhou Ziqi's hand wandered on Chen He's thigh. Chun, he suddenly asked, "Were you messaging that old woman just now? Oh, so she knows about my existence." Zhou Ziqi said unhappily, "Don't talk about her like that." Chun, he said coquettishly, "You are not happy when I talk about her. Do you like me more, or her?" Zhou Ziqi breathed heavily. "I like you more, okay? She is no match for you." "Is she boring?" "Not as interesting as you." "Then you are not allowed to touch her anymore." Zhou Ziqi responded vaguely. My hands were shaking and I could hardly hold the phone. Suddenly I felt that the dazed boy in front of me was so strange and scary. The boy who always followed me and called me sister since childhood has become so hideous. He seemed to be devoured by a monster. As they asked and answered each other, their actions became more and more extreme. He didn't stop until someone came over. I recorded the entire scene, hiding in the dark and watching them walk past me. At this point, I could have gone over, thrown him a glass of wine, and told him we were screwed. But is this too lenient towards him? On what basis does he compare me with others? How can you get away with it after hurting me? He has to be more miserable than I am for me to be happy. I thought of a fun game. Isn't it more interesting to let those who play with their sincerity experience being played with? I stood here for a long time until my feet were numb, and then I left quietly. I took the next flight back and acted as if nothing had happened. But I know there's no going back. 7. The dormitory was closed when I came back. I booked a room near the school gate and stared at the ceiling all night. A sleepless night. I am 5 years older than Zhou Ziqi. When I was a senior in high school, he was a freshman in junior high school and he would come to my house all day long. One time when we were doing homework together, he found a love letter in my school bag. He was very angry and kept whispering in my ear for several days. "Xiaxi, you are a senior in high school. How can you have a relationship? What if it affects your studies? Aren't you going to take the entrance exam to Z University?" That boy is so mean. How could he send you a love letter at this time? You must not agree to his request. I was annoyed with him. What do you know as a little brat? Also, don't call me Xiaxi, call me sister. CSC. At 14, Zhou Ziqi is already taller than me. With fair skin and handsome features, he is the most popular type of pretty boy nowadays. When he is shown in a pretentious manner, people would want to pinch his face hard. If you fall in love too early, I will never call you sister again. I couldn't help but pinch his cheeks and make them red. I smiled triumphantly and said, "I know. I don't want to fall in love." Zhou Ziqi then gave up and muttered, "You have to wait until I grow up." I didn't hear clearly. He stopped talking. While Zhou Ziqi was taking the college entrance examination, I was studying for a master's degree at Z University. His grades weren't good enough to get him into Z University, so it would be a waste of time to go to other schools in the same city. I gave him a lot of advice and he applied for the major according to what I said. I was worried before the deadline for filling out the application form. When I went up, I saw that he had changed all his choices and they were all in the city where I was studying in college. I was so angry that I pulled his ears. Zhou Ziqi was not convinced. "What if I go to study somewhere else and you fall in love with someone else?" I laughed and said, "What does my relationship have to do with where you study?" He is a head taller than when he was 14 years old. When he looked down at me, his big eyelids drooped slightly, making him look very innocent. "You talked to someone else, but what about me? You don't want me anymore, right?" He stared at me stubbornly. My heart skipped a beat under his burning gaze. I looked away awkwardly. "You're just a kid, what do you know?" Zhou Ziqi protested. "I'm not a child, Xiaxi, I'm grown up, I know I like you and I want to be with you. In fact, I saw it a long time ago. He cares more about my love life than my parents do. He always likes to stay by my side. My friends call him a follower. But he is still young." Zhou Ziqi saw what I was thinking. "I'm not young anymore, I'm 18 years old, I'm taller than the other boys around you, right?" He acted coquettishly and asked me to look at him. I looked up and was met with his passionate love, which burned my heart. Finally, we reached an agreement. If I agreed to his confession, he will change his original choice. Zhou Ziqi promised, "Sister, I will study hard in college and strive to get a guaranteed place in Z University to be your junior." During his 3 years in college, He kept his promises and maintained top grades in his major. If he continues to maintain this performance in the next semester, he will most likely be admitted to Z University, thus ending our 3-year long-distance relationship. The time was almost up. Why was he distracted? 8. If you think about it carefully, there are some signs. When Joziki was a freshman in college, she would call and message me almost every day. They complain about the sun, the food in the cafeteria is bad, or they find a few cats in school. Also, it rained all morning today, and the leaves were blown to the ground, and the sound when you stepped on them was very pleasant. He can talk to me with great interest about any little thing in life. I don't know when it started, but his messages became more like check-ins. The most common thing that comes up is that I feel a little tired from studying today. The information about his life is getting less and less. I no longer know whether he has found any delicious treasures, which teacher has a funny accent, or whether the moon in the school is full tonight. It seems that we have nothing to share. Now it seems that it is because he has people around him who are more convenient to share with. Being in a foreign land, I seem to be dispensable. 9. At 9 o'clock the next morning, Joziki sent a message. Why didn't you reply to my message? Did you forget? 12 hours had passed since his last message. The previous Joziki would never be able to wait. If I don't reply to your message within 5 minutes, he'll start asking you what's going on. So this is because he just slept for a while, his intelligence is at a high level, and he can't spare the energy to fool me? Me? Yeah. I looked through our recent chats. In October, Joziki, who never drinks milk tea, shared a new product from a certain brand with me. Sister, do you want to drink? I'll buy you a cup, go get it, it's delicious. Me. Don't you say you don't drink milk tea? I suddenly wanted to try it and found it was quite delicious. After that, he never shared milk tea with me again. How could someone who never drinks milk tea suddenly want to try it? The most likely explanation is that the people around him wanted to drink. That is to say, he and Chen He were already having an affair at that time. The image of Joziki breathing heavily appeared in front of my eyes. A sour feeling came out of my throat. Feel like vomiting. 10. Joziki sent me several messages today, complaining about being tortured by calculus for the whole day. In the past, I would have comforted him. I looked through the textbooks from that year and explained it to him slowly. Now I glanced at the message and pretended not to see it. Joziki is a person with little patience. He called me at night and said in an aggrieved tone, "Why didn't you reply to me?" I said leisurely, "Busy." I was very annoyed and wanted to just yell at him. I endured it again. This was a great relief for him. It hurts when a soft knife cuts you. Joziki felt even more aggrieved. I'd never be so cold to him. Are you so busy that you don't even have time to text me? I did this for several days and adopted a no-reply policy to his messages. When Joziki called on the 4th day, she sounded like she had been crying and choked up a little. "Sister, what's wrong with you lately? I feel like you don't want to chat with me." My heart skipped a beat. This is a completely knee-jerk emotional reaction. I'm used to feeling sorry for him, but then a sense of relief came over me. I squinted my eyes and listened to him asking if I was in a bad mood. I answered perfunctorily, "I'm tired and I'm going to sleep." Joziki was silent for a while before she asked cautiously, "Are you free tomorrow?" "Tomorrow is my birthday. He flies over to see me every year. Without exception. Have." He breathed a sigh of relief. After hanging up the phone, I felt a little dazed. He obviously seems to love me so much that he would be sad because of my neglect. However, no matter how sad he is, he still remembers my birthday and thinks of giving me a surprise. Then why betray me? I do not understand. 11. On my birthday, I made an appointment with a group of friends early in the morning. We went hiking in the morning. We set out at 7 and reached the top at 9. Joziki just happened to call. I knew right away that he must have taken the earliest flight. Joziki has a serious habit of staying in bed and is always late for her 8 morning classes. Only on my birthday would he get up early, prepare gifts for me, and go out in high spirits. I just took a look and turned off my phone. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we went to the foot of the mountain to have lunch. My schoolmate sent me a video of Joziki squatting downstairs in the girls' dormitory. "Senior, is this your boyfriend? It's also cold in the south in January. Ziki was wearing the white couple's cotton jacket that we bought together when she came last year. He stood under the banyan tree. The cold wind blew up the fallen leaves and lifted his short black hair. He lowered his head, and it was unclear whether he was sending a message or making a phone call, but I didn't get a single reply. His expression was bewildered, and he looked so miserable and pitiful. Me. It used to be. We are all adults, and the schoolgirl immediately understood that something was wrong between us and promised to ignore him. In the evening, we went to KTV to sing together. When I came out, my junior schoolmate told me that Ziki was still there. Of course, I know he is still there. He called several of my friends and I told them they didn't know where I was. He was going crazy. My friend said if I didn't come back, he might call the police. So at 11 o'clock in the evening, I went back. When Ziki looked up and saw me, her eyes lit up instantly. She ran over and tried to hold my hand, but I dodged her. A look of desolation flashed across his face, and he forced a smile and said, "Sister, where have you been?" "I went out with friends to celebrate my birthday," Ziki said aggrievedly. "Why didn't you tell me?" I sneered. "I have to tell you everything, you are my mother?" He didn't expect me to say that. It took him a long while to find his voice. He said stutteringly, "No, it's just that I can't get in touch with you and I'm worried. My phone is off." "Oh." Ziki lowered her head to hide the moisture in the corners of her eyes and hurriedly took out the gift. "Here is the gift, happy birthday." A very thick book. The cover is a photo I took on my birthday last year. He hugged me from behind, made a yes gesture to the camera, and gave me a silly smile. Anyone could see his joy and satisfaction. I was not interested and didn't even want to open it. "Thank you." Ziki couldn't hold back her grievance any longer, her lips trembling slightly. "Sister, why are you?" A sudden voice interrupted him. "Xiaxi, did you forget to bring something?" The man strode over. He is tall, and the black windbreaker, which is extremely difficult to wear well, looks like it was tailor-made for him, elegant and calm. He handed me a coat and said helplessly, "You didn't even bring a coat, aren't you cold?" As soon as I took the coat, Ziki suddenly grabbed my hand, pulled me to his side, and glared at Fujiyu with hostility. Who is he? Ziki was like an enraged wolf cub, guarding his territory and trying to drive away the uninvited guests. I had no interest in a scene of two men fighting over one woman in front of the students passing by, so I pulled my hand back and said to Fujiyu, "Thank you, senior brother. You can go back first." Fujiyu smiled faintly. "Well, today is a pleasant day, isn't it?" His words were ambiguous, which immediately angered Ziki. He glared at her. "What do you mean?" Fujiyu waved his hand and left. I pulled Ziki, unable to help but reveal a bit of disgust. Ziki, stop making trouble. It's late, you should go. Ziki's eyes suddenly turned red when she saw the disgust in my eyes. He tried to hold back but finally couldn't help asking, "Sister, are you in love with someone else?" I sneered. "I'm not you." His face turned pale and his lips trembled. I kindly added, I'm not like you young people who change your mind easily." I turned and went back to the dormitory. He followed me and asked, "Aren't you going out with me?" In the past, when he came to see me, I would indeed accompany him out. It is normal for a couple who have reunited after a long separation to do intimate things. Now stop being nasty to me. I am rigid and boring. No match for his girlfriend who has similar interests. I'm tired after playing all day. Ziki stood there for a long time. I returned to the dormitory and looked outside. He was still standing downstairs. After I came out of the shower, all I could see was his lonely back as he left. I admit I was pathetically soft-hearted. 12. The birthday gift Ziki gave me was a photo album, which recorded many things we did together from childhood to adulthood. On his 6th birthday, he put the crown on my head. The adults found it funny and took photos of the scene with smiles on their faces. When he was 10 years old, our two families went to the beach together. He held on to my hand tightly as he slipped on the sand. After I finished the college entrance examination, he came to pick me up with flowers. More importantly, it's the 3 years we spent in love. My joys, sorrows, anger, and happiness are all recorded in his book. He wrote down every detail and event beside it. He asked me why I was happy and he was happier than me. When he asked me why I was sad, he felt so sad for me. Finally, he wrote, "When I was a child, you held my hand and I felt very safe. Now you are holding my hand, and I am filled with happiness. Why not me? We have known each other for nearly 20 years, and he has become an inseparable part of my life. That's why I hated him so much when he betrayed me. It's so tiring to hate someone. That's it." I wiped the moisture from the corners of my eyes. Teen. I went to find him. Number 0105 Schoolgate Hotel. January 5th is my birthday and he books this room every year. Downstairs in the hotel, I saw a girl whom I had only met once. On a cold winter night, she exposed her 2 white thighs looking hot and sexy. It's Chan-hee. I felt like I was slapped in the face and laughed at myself for being so soft-hearted. 14. I took the room next to theirs. Maybe out of some kind of self-abuse, I wanted to see how far Joseki could go to bully me. Soon, I heard the sound of the voice next door. There was a sound of quarrel. "Joseki, what are you doing here? If others don't feel sorry for you, why don't you let me feel sorry for you? She's just tired. Joseki, stop lying to yourself. She doesn't care about you as much as I do." Soon, the voices disappeared, replaced by a mixture of ambiguous sounds. It turns out that the hotel's soundproofing is so poor. I should be sad, but I feel powerless even to feel sad. At this time, Fujiu sent me a message and asked me what I was doing. I can't say I was listening to the drama between my boyfriend and his new girlfriend, right? While I was thinking about how to answer, he continued, "Was I taken advantage of by my junior sister today? I did leave my coat on his car on purpose. My little secret was exposed and I felt a little embarrassed. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm glad I could help you." My hands trembled and I changed the subject. "Brother, if you have time, please reply to my question. He has urged me to do so." "Oh, good." Fujiu's stunned expression appeared in my mind. This little episode relieved my depressed mood a lot, so much so that I started to have bad thoughts again. I sent a message to Joseki. "I shouldn't have treated you like this today. I'm here to see you. It's 0105, right? I will arrive soon." 15. There was chaos next door in an instant. Chun-hee cried and said, "Joseki, what do you think of me? I come when you call me and I go when you dismiss me. Did I force you to do this? You bastard." Chun-hee was still pushed out. Joseki even warned her, "Don't let her see you or I won't let you go." I looked through the cat's eyes and saw Joseki dragging her out. I actually found this ridiculous scene funny, perhaps because she had sent Chen-hee away. Joseki called me, her voice full of nervousness and surprise. "Sister, when are you coming over?" I poured a basin of cold water on him without hesitation. "It's too cold. I'm going back. Let's go tomorrow." Joseki's mood suddenly dropped. "Oh, let's go out and play together tomorrow. Just to make up for your regret of not being able to spend my birthday with me today. I will definitely give you the best tomorrow. This is the last candy." The darkened cell phone screen reflected my cold face. Half an hour later, I had one more friend request on WeChat. "You are just a boring old woman. Die, why don't you just die? Why do you use this avatar? You are so old and still use pink pig. How stupid." I kindly accepted her friend request. "Aren't you curious about who I am?" "I'm not curious." Chun-hee did not reply. I looked through her circle of friends. Oh, it turns out that she and Joseki really got together in October last year. I was calm and even wanted to boast that I was the reincarnation of Miss Marple. Chun-hee pursued him for half a year. Joseki only told me about an annoying junior schoolmate at the beginning. He never mentioned to me the flowers he sent me and the public confession he made. I guess he is enjoying it. 16. The next day I got up early, go to the hotel entrance and call him to ask him to come down. When Joseki just came down, he hesitated and didn't dare to approach me. I waved at him and said angrily, "What are you standing there for? Do you want to go play?" Like the sun coming out after the rain, Joseki smiled happily, her brows filled with joy. I had a great time playing with him for the whole day. We strolled around the campus and I told him about my recent studies in life. I took him to eat some new delicacies that I had recently discovered, and told him that he could come often after he was admitted to our school through graduate school. I spent the whole day creating a beautiful dream for him. Tell him I'm waiting for him. Joseki has classes tomorrow, so I took him to the airport. Before leaving, he looked at me reluctantly. I know what he is waiting for. He wanted me to kiss him and tell him, "Have a nice trip," like I used to do. But I didn't do anything. He is so dirty that I can't eat him. In his disappointed eyes, I pushed him in and said, "Let's go." After the plane landed, Joseki told me that he had arrived. Only then did I notice that his profile picture had been updated. This is a new love picture that matches Chan-hee. My lover was left out, standing alone in the list, singing an ugly one-man show. TSK. I also changed my profile picture to my favorite Miss Maple. 17. After returning this time, Joseki returned to her original clingy self. Messages and phone calls without missing a single one. But I have changed. He rarely replies to my messages and only answers my calls based on his mood. Sometimes when I'm busy, I don't reply to messages or answer calls for 10 days or half a month. Joseki's heart suddenly fell from the sky to the ground with a bang. He was in a state of panic all day long. "Sister, do you not want me anymore?" "Yes, but I just told him." Don't let your imagination run wild. 18. Time flies and it's winter vacation. Joseki's school had a holiday a few days earlier than ours, and he wanted to come and wait for me to go home together. I asked him to go back first, using the excuse that he had to stay at school to do an experiment because I didn't want him to disturb me. He had no choice but to go back. The 8th day of the holiday was the anniversary of Joseki's mother's death. Joseki contacted me and asked me what time I would be back. "I'm not going back today." He was silent for a long time. Before I could lose my patience, he slowly said, "Today is the anniversary of my mother's death, sister. Have you forgotten?" I used the softest voice to say the coldest words. "I know, but she's your mother, not mine. How can I have the time to accompany you to visit her every year?" This was the first time Joseki hung up the phone before me. I lied to him. I arrived at the cemetery at about the same time as him. I watched Joseki from afar standing in front of my aunt's grave for a long time. He lowered his head. I couldn't see the expression on his face clearly. He stood there for a long time like a tree stump. The gray sky paints a depressing picture. Her aunt died in a car accident when Joseki was 12 years old. What made him even more desperate was that his father remarried 3 months after the accident. No one cares about a little kid's feelings. Even though he skipped classes, made trouble in class, and didn't do his homework, no one asked why. They would just say, Joseki becomes more and more ignorant as she grows older. It seemed that I was the only one who knew that he would cry late at night and secretly run to the cemetery to see his mother. I walked out with him. When he went missing, I went to the cemetery and brought him home. It took half a year before the smile returned to his face. Joseki stayed alone for 3 hours this time. From standing at first to sitting on the ground, with his head resting on his mother's tombstone, he seemed to be seeking comfort. After he left, I came out and put down a bunch of yellow chrysanthemums. "Auntie, I will not come to visit you with Joseki anymore." When I first brought him home from the cemetery, I promised my aunt at her grave that I would accompany him every year. The only difference between an oath and a lie is love. They are on both ends of the scale. Wherever love falls, it leans towards it. Joseki forgot that what I loved was his honesty and sincerity, not his deception. 19. It was not until New Year's Eve that Joseki found out that I had returned home. He squeezed into my room. "Why didn't you tell me you were back?" My tutor didn't give me a long vacation, so I went back to school in the 2nd year of junior high school. So anxious. He left after saying this, and remained mysterious the whole day. I have no interest in exploring. At 11:30 in the evening, Joseki suddenly asked me to go downstairs. I originally wanted to pretend I didn't see it. Then I thought he lives next door, and if I don't go downstairs, he will definitely come knocking on the door later. I had no choice but to go downstairs in my pajamas. Joseki was holding something and waving at me with a smile, looking completely free of any grudges. I felt like I was back in my childhood. I didn't have time to react when he grabbed my hand and ran. He took me to the abandoned playground. We used to play here when we were kids, but it closed down later. I frowned and asked him, "What are you doing here?" Joseki took out a fairy wand as if performing magic. Ding ding ding. This is a no-burning zone. Just set off a few, isn't it beautiful? When we were kids we always played together. We didn't have much money back then, so we could only afford to buy a few. Now we have money, but we are not allowed to set off fireworks in the city." As he spoke, he lit several fairy wands at the same time. The brilliant light illuminated his smile. However, that light is fleeting and its beauty cannot be retained. Soon it was swallowed up by darkness again. I took a photo and sent it to Chan He. "Pretty fireworks, aren't they?" Then, Zhou Ziqi's phone vibrated. He took a moment to take a look, then hung up the phone with a stiff expression and turned off the phone. I smiled and said, "Who is it? Why don't you answer it?" Zhou Ziqi pretended to be calm. "College friends, nothing much. Maybe just New Year's greetings. I just want to be with you now." When he lied, he blinked rapidly. This was a subconscious action of his, and he might not even be aware of it. But I understand it clearly. I said I was sleepy and wanted to go back to sleep. He had no other opinions and was very worried all the way. We were so close that our shadows almost merged together, but we were thinking completely different things that we didn't dare to express to each other. 20. In the middle of the night, Chun He sent me several messages to show off. He said he would accompany me tomorrow. I am more important to him than you. If you know better, take the initiative to break up with Zhou Ziqi. You are 5 years older than him and you still have the nerve to rely on him. You are so shameless. I feel helpless towards Chan He. Even though I knew she was the third person in charge, I didn't think about what to do with her at first. The problem between the two women comes down to the man's inability to control his lower body. But I never expected that Chan He seemed to think this was an honor. Is it worth it for a man? I moved my fingers and replied, "If you were more important, he wouldn't have broken up with me until now." My words angered Chun He. She shared with me all the details of her itinerary with Zhou Ziqi for the next day. Zhou Ziqi might have been worried about being seen by me, so she ran to the farthest district to date Chan He. They went to the amusement park. Chun He showed off to me the rag dolls that Zhou Ziqi caught. They went to the movies. Chun He sent me a photo of them holding hands and sitting in the couple's seat. And book a room. Chun He sent me a photo of Zhou Ziqi's topless back. I heard you are like a dead fish. How old-fashioned. It's the 21st century and you still only know how to do one pose. I laughed at myself, changed my clothes and prepared to go out. Deal with it before school starts so it doesn't affect your studies in the next semester. I drove and arrived at the hotel gate in less than half an hour. As luck would have it, they just happened to come out. Chun He held Zhou Ziqi's arm and chatted and laughed. Zhou Ziqi was in low spirits and responded incoherently. I honked the horn, rolled down the window and greeted them. "Good afternoon, are you done?" They all looked towards me. Chun He was just a little surprised by my arrival, and then hugged Zhou Ziqi's arm tightly, as if showing off to me. Zhou Ziqi, however, seemed to be frightened and pulled her away. The moment he saw me, his face lost all color. I could clearly see that his body was shaking. 21. I greeted Zhou Ziqi with a smile, as enthusiastic as a tout. "Get in the car." He took a few steps towards me and was pulled back by Chen He. "Are you going to leave me alone? I came here specifically to find you. Get lost." Zhou Ziqi pulled her hand away again. So ruthless. I sighed and said, "Let's have dinner together tonight. Bring her over. I'll introduce your girlfriend to your dad." Zhou Ziqi's body swayed. He held onto the front of the car and glared at Chen He. I said, "Get lost, don't you understand what I'm saying?" Chen He stopped reluctantly and gave me a resentful look. It's so unfair to me. She probably still thinks I'm trying to steal her attention. What to grab? To snatch the love of a fickle man? Is this something very valuable? Zhou Ziqi wanted to sit in the passenger seat, but couldn't open the door. I looked forward and said, "Sit in the back. I'm afraid I'll hit you to death on the way back." He sat in the back seat, stiff as a robot whose oil had run out. I drove to the community parking lot. After parking the car, I turned around and met his dull eyes. "Tell me why." His eyes blinked rapidly. "She is my classmate from 2 University. She came to visit me on her way. I booked a hotel for her, but she was not satisfied. I just wanted to take her to another one." I laughed out loud and couldn't help but remind him. "I was in the room next to yours on January 5th. The soundproofing in this hotel is so poor that I could hear everything." I played him the video I had recorded. Their voices came out clearly. Were you messaging that old woman just now? Don't talk about her like that. You're not happy when I talk about her. Do you like me more or her? I like you more, right? She is no match for you. Is she boring? Not as interesting as you. Then you are not allowed to touch her anymore. All the light in Joziki's eyes disappeared in an instant. He murmured, "You already knew that. I thought I would be calm. After all, for the past month, I have been watching him jumping around in front of me like a clown." But at this moment, anger overwhelmed me. I looked at him with hatred. "Joziki, how can you be so hateful? You were the one who chased me, not me who was shameless enough to be with you. I'm boring. Don't you know who I am? Why do you use me as a condiment in your bed? What's wrong with me being 26? You won't live to be 26? Yes, you won't get a PhD at 26. You two are just two lowly dirty bugs. You have the same bad taste. No wonder you can become a couple. Whenever I think about you touching me, I feel disgusted. You are filthy. I have never hated it as much as I do now. When I first saw them kissing, I even doubted myself. Am I really that boring in bed? Is it the age gap between us that creates a barrier between us? But I soon figured it out. It was he who told me that 5 years old was nothing. He just liked me, loved me regardless of everything. He cheated because he changed his mind. It has nothing to do with me. Why should I change to please him?" Joziki covered her face, her shoulders shaking. "She is the one who is pestering me." Then he told me about Chun-hee's passionate pursuit of him, like a moth to a flame. She inquired about his preferences and liked what he liked in order to get close to him. They attend comic conventions together and share the latest anime. She became his confidant. Joziki is not good at studying. He studies just to be closer to me. When he is tired, Chun-hee will take him to relax. He said Chun-hee and I have completely different personalities. If he gets stuck in a dead end, I will be the one to encourage him to get out of it, and Chun-hee will accompany him in being stupid. He thought I was too rational, and the condition for him to openly tell his family about our relationship was that he be admitted to Z University through postgraduate study or through the postgraduate entrance examination. And Chun-hee loved him so much that she lost herself. Joziki said sadly, "I never thought of leaving you for Chun-hee. I just sometimes felt that you were too far away from me. You were able to remain calm even after knowing my betrayal. I don't know if you agreed to be with me just because you felt sorry for me." For the first time, I felt pathetic. I smiled coldly. I chose not to make it public because of the age difference between us. My parents will definitely worry that you are just young and impulsive, and they are afraid that you will regret it later. That's why I thought they would feel more at ease when you grow up and mature. Now it seems that my decision was absolutely correct. You are indeed not worthy of trust. I am glad that I made the decision at the beginning. After getting off the bus, I took a deep breath and looked at him intently. There are so many people in the world who deserve sympathy. Why don't I be with them? Joy flashed across Joziki's eyes, but the next moment, they were covered by tears. "Sister, I was wrong. I will completely cut off my relationship with Chun-hee. Can you please?" I interrupted him and said, "Joziki, stop saying such things to disgust me. Let's just be strangers from now on." 22. At the dinner between the two families, Uncle Zhou asked me, "Does Xiaoxi have a boyfriend?" "No." "You don't have anyone you like, do you?" I said calmly. "No, but there are some very disgusting people who make me want to vomit when I see them." Joziki's face was as pale as paper. 23. In the new semester, I put Joziki and Chun-hee on the blacklist. Joziki would come to me from time to time and beg me to give him a chance. I treated him like air. The consequences of his actions came to light. His report card for the second semester of his junior year was terrible, and there was no hope of him being admitted to graduate school. And Fujiyu also reached the day of graduation. He invited me to take graduation photos. I agreed. He came to me with the developed photos and confessed his love to me. I refused without even thinking about it. "Brother, everyone has his or her own world. I wish you can fly to a better and farther sky, but we are on different paths." Fujiyu said nothing more and left the photo to me. There is no room for love in my life. I made an exception because that person was Joziki. I am the king. I have obtained a master's degree and a doctorate, and have published 10 SCI papers. 24. When everyone was preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination, Ziki still came to pester me. Not surprisingly, his postgraduate entrance examination results were also very poor. Ziki asked me with red eyes, "I'm really bad, right?" I had just come out of the laboratory building at that time, and I was already in a bad mood because he blocked my way. I rolled my eyes at him and said, "Don't you know what's going on? If I hadn't helped you with your studies in high school, would you have been able to get into college?" A few months later, I heard from a friend that he reported Ziki for plagiarism. The matter was in a state of uproar. However, after verification, Ziki's thesis did not plagiarize. He revealed that Ziki cheated again. She became a mistress without knowing it. Soon, their mutual friend replied anonymously, "He is the third person who knows the third person." The two were nailed to the pillar of shame together. The company that he had originally signed with also canceled the contract. But Ziki didn't care about all this. After graduation, he came to my city. One late night, a strange text message popped up. I lost it. I was speechless. "I'm not competing with you. Men will not be my trophies." 25. After graduating from my third year of PhD, my supervisor recommended me to work at a Sino-Foreign Joint Venture Research Institute. Research institutes abroad. I agreed without any hesitation. Their research direction happens to be what I like. When Ziki learned the news, I had already arrived at the airport. His eyes were red and swollen, and he said desperately, "Are you hiding from me?" I smiled calmly. "Ziki, you don't have that much magic power. What attracts me to travel far away is the wonderful science. We'll never see each other again.